Hello and welcome to the Woven podcast. I'm Sarah Newberry, your host, and today I'm really excited for my guest Amber to join us. And I feel like it's important to note that we've never talked before in real life, and or even over Zoom, because is that real life? But we met via a podcasting group on Facebook and we sort of like clicked right away. I feel like maybe that's just my own opinion, but um, I feel like we sort of jived on a lot of things. So we started sending voice notes back and forth, and so I think this conversation is going to be juicy. So Amber, tell the people listening a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Sarah. And I totally agree with you. I'm just even looking at you now. I see your glasses and your nose ring and your tattoos. And I'm just like, yep, we're similar. We're similar for sure. So, yeah, my name's Amber and I am deep in perimenopause, hard. I'm a nurse and I recognize that I didn't know what was happening to me. And I realized that there's no way I'm in this alone. So I started talking about it. And then I had a lot of women, even some men coming to me saying, like, this is what I'm going through. I don't know if that's real, or I don't know if I should trust these feelings. I don't know what's happening to me, things like that. So I just started, I figured I'm going to talk to people and I'm going to help them sort out, are these my hormones that are telling me that I need to quit my job because it's the worst and I'm miserable? And, or, are these my hormones that I just don't like my husband anymore, or things like that, right? So I help women be able to identify, what's reality and what could possibly be your hormones, and talk through it. It's talk. It's talk. It's not fixing. It's not therapy. It's talk. I find myself, I'm not a surface person. So I will ask hard questions and I will ask deep questions. And people, I think, need that and want that. But there's a lot of shame in, how people are feeling at a certain time or what they're feeling, you know, badly about. So I started, we signed confidentiality agreements and I share experiences as well. And I validate these people, right? So that just took off. And I started my Instagram page to be real and raw about perimenopause, because as much as it's supposed to be this empowering woman journey, like coming out, it's the hardest time in my life. And I knew other people would probably be feeling the same. And I was like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to be loud about it because I needed it too. I needed it too.
Yeah, I love that. I think that someone was just saying to me earlier today, like, what a timeline to be here, with everything that's going on in the world. And I
Yeah,
think that the times that we're living in, we're craving the depth,
big
we're
time.
craving that like deep conversations. I too am not a surface person. I like can't do the weather conversations. It makes me
Yes.
feel like a robot.
Me too.
Um, and we have enough robots going on in the world.
Right. Yeah.
So, which is, I do think we're going to come around here, right? So like the more robots we get, the more we're going to find our humanity and like our humanness. I mean,
Mhm.
that's my hope.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Right.
but I hear you on the depth, and I also hear you on the perimenopause. It took a little time to determine whether or not perimenopause was actually happening for me, because I'm still a little on
Yeah.
the young side in my opinion, even though the ages that they're saying now is like much younger, which
Yeah.
my question is like, what's that about? Um, and then whenever it was like determined, yes, this is perimenopause, I felt this relief of like, okay, I'm not dying. Because there
Yeah.
for a little while, I felt like I was dying.
Yeah. What is happening to me? I have no
Yeah.
idea. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of women are feeling that way. And a lot of women, they'll Google early dementia, or, myself, I'm a nurse. I've had, before I was in public health, I worked over 10 years in mental health. So I was looking at it like, oh, I might need to go get assessed because I am not myself and what is happening. So until I went down a big research rabbit hole, I wondered if, you know, I needed a mental health assessment. And I know a lot of people feel that way because we don't know anything about this. And just like you said, the economy, just the world we're living in right now, that is heavy and that is stressful. And our bodies cannot take it. Our brains aren't meant to take this much information and try to deal with it on top of our real lives, right? It's been quite a heavy, I'd say just over a year where I've started, really learning about this stuff.
Hmm.
It's been a very heavy year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I feel like, our parents never talked about it either. Like, I never heard my mom talking about this. I never heard my grandma talking about this. And it makes me wonder, I'm sure that they went through their own experiences, but I also wonder if, is the stress, is the environment, is the timeline part of like what's making
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
more heavy.
Mhm.
There's in other episodes I've talked about how just mothering is like different today because we're constantly being pinged
Yeah,
with news and like everything. So it's like I'm sure that our bodies are responding to just the overwhelm.
it's true. Yeah. So I did some research on
Yeah.
that because I thought, well, how did all these generations before us get through this no problem? They really didn't. They sucked it up. Um, I asked my mom about it, and she she was very well. Yeah, I remember. And I was like, well, you didn't tell me. So she went for an assessment. I learned after. So she still is not sure if that was perimenopause because she's never even heard of it, right? But in early 40s, that's what happened with my mom. But we carry this generation of parenting. There's a lot of pressure on us, and like we've said, not to mention the state of the world and our cortisol. It it's messy, so we just can't handle it anymore. And the stress that women carry these days is a lot heavier than the stress women carried 30 years ago. And it's not invalidating their experiences because they couldn't talk about it. They didn't talk about it, right? Because they had nowhere to reach to find out what is happening to me. So they stayed quiet about it because they thought they were alone in it, right? So I'm finding that now that we are talking so much more about it, that women are going, "Oh, that's me too. Okay, okay, yeah, I'm not alone in this." And it's happening, like, everyone our age. How old are you, Sarah?
I just turned 40. Well, I keep saying that. I'm going to be 41 next month. I didn't just turn 40.
And you can keep saying that if you want, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, you're at a fairly normal age to start seeing heavy symptoms of perimenopause. And, like, I turned 43 in November, so I'll be 44 this year, which I also told my friend I'll be 43 this year, so we start losing track of time. And I
Weird.
would say just after I turned 42 is when it just hit. Like it just hit and it hit hard. I didn't slowly go into this. I felt like it just one day hit. And so some people will go into it slowly. Some people it will hit. Some people it'll wait till, you're 47. Some people they'll start having symptoms at 35. It all just
It's so
depends,
crazy.
right? And you can't look at a blood test and say, "Oh, yeah, well, you're in perimenopause." It
Hmm.
all has to do with symptoms, and everyone's symptoms vary. So it's hard
And
on
like
even healthcare
everything is a
providers.
symptom. Almost not everything, but like a lot. The
Totally.
symptoms are wide and vast.
Yeah, there's like 104, I think, of symptoms that have been documented as perimenopausal symptoms. That's a lot, and not
Hmm.
everybody's gonna have all of
Right.
them. Some people are gonna have 40, some people are gonna have 2. Lucky. Like, and
Right.
some people will experience it sooner, some people will experience it way later. It's this whole wild journey that healthcare providers are just barely learning about now because
Hmm.
they are
Hmm.
taught, okay, so you go in and you say, I'm anxious. I'm anxious. I cannot understand why. I can't identify why all of a sudden I'm so anxious. And when you try to assess somebody for these signs and symptoms, yes, you're anxious. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to medicate you to help you deal with this, right? And that can be totally real as well. You
Hmm.
could not be dealing with perimenopause symptoms. You could be dealing with heavy anxiety or depression. So it's really hard to distinguish the differences, right? So if it's this whole set of symptoms along with anxiety and depression, then yeah, maybe it could be perimenopausal, but it could not be either. So it's really hard to distinguish, what it is. And doctors are trained to go with, oh, that sounds like anxiety. I think we should medicate you,
Hmm.
which
Right.
SSRIs are great too. So and we're just learning. So
It's it's funny because it's not funny, but I don't know. It is what it is. But I work with a lot of mothers and mothers in pregnancy and postpartum. And what I'm starting, I mean, just out of how many conversations I've had with my clients is that, we have this sort of cultural notion that you can have babies later, right? Like you can have your career first and then you can go have babies. And whenever I start seeing someone in their 30s, which is crazy because that's still a baby, like that's still
yeah,
little, like
right?
they're young, okay?
Totally. Yep.
Um, and if I see a mom having a baby at like 32, 35, 36,
Mhm.
38, I start asking about perimenopause
Yeah.
because I feel like there's a lot of postpartum symptoms that also look like perimenopause.
Gosh, into perimenopause.
And I also think that both of those experiences, postpartum and perimenopause, are a hormone cascade of
Big time.
chaos.
Yep. Yeah, they are. They really
So
are.
it's like we need to be having these conversations like, yes, wait as long as you want to have babies, but
Mhm.
also know that like XYZ could be your experience.
This could be the possibility, right, with geriatric pregnancies. That
Hmm.
could absolutely it's a really great point, Sarah, is that, you're having these you have your baby and all of a sudden your estrogen just plummets, right? Because you have so much estrogen while you're pregnant, but then your perimenopause symptoms may come in and then it's going to start going like this, and it's very, very confusing. So your hormones are really messy after you have a baby and you're trying to deal with that, but then you could run into other hormones with perimenopause that are going to mess with you.
And
So
just and
I
just
love
like
that
you
you brought
were
that.
and just like you were saying, like we can't necessarily do a blood test to be like, okay, you're in
No,
perimenopause. That's not how this works.
right, right.
So,
Yeah.
it really becomes a conundrum, and I don't know the answer, but I do
Mhm.
more conversation. And I also think to bring in a cultural piece of this, right, is that perimenopause is an initiation. It's like a rite of passage,
Yeah,
much like menarche or
mhm.
puberty, having your period.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and our culture has sort of lost touch with those things as well, like those rites of passage. Even just like celebrating the fact that you've moved through something new, could be a way of supporting that, right? Even if
yeah,
it's for example, when a person has a baby, they might have a baby shower because that's like what our culture
yeah,
sort of does. And then there's this thing called a blessing way, which I facilitate for people, and it's this beautiful spiritual kind of experience for to honor the mother. It's not about the baby, right?
right.
And
Awesome.
that's a cultural initiation that helps you process
Yeah,
the new identity or the rite of passage or the initiation that you're moving through.
beautiful. I've never heard that. It's great.
And that it's like a communal way to like lift up the mother. But what I'm wondering is like as we move through this postpartum period and with little time to like rest in that whole experience, and
Mhm.
then here comes perimenopause with no cultural anchoring into a communal way of processing.
That's right. No, and so
So
you
we can throw medication and like remedies or whatever you want to do at the thing, but if we're still not anchoring in like a communal rite of passage, like there's still
and
more ways to support.
and you think that there's something wrong with you, right?
Yeah,
Like you would assume that you aren't doing a good job because after you have the baby, that's it. You're thrown to the wolves.
you are. It's so true.
Yes, and I like, after my first child, he's 14 now, we were in hospital, I think, for 5 days because it was a heavy birth, it was heavy, and I didn't know anything about about hormones after delivering a baby. I didn't know anything about breastfeeding. I just assumed everything was lovely. Apparently, I starved my baby for 2 weeks because I was very sick, so my body was fighting an infection, but I didn't know.
Right.
So and then when I had my daughter, she's 8, I went with a midwife this time. What a different experience. They came and checked up on me for 6 weeks, and that I I tell everyone, I'm like, having that is the most beautiful thing, and I know some cultures, they have, like, their mother-in-laws or their mothers come in and take care of mom, take
Hmm.
care, and that's beautiful. For us, like, no, it's just good luck, but having that midwife support taught me so much and helped me go
Hmm.
through those transitions where you're bawling your face off sitting there with a baby on your boob alone. Like,
Hmm.
that's normal because of your hormones, but if you're not informed of these things, you think you're doing a bad job as a mom
Hmm. Hmm.
because that's not what you were ever told. It's a beautiful thing and everything's lovely, but it's a hard place to be in.
Yes. And I mean, I know that it sounds like your first birth was challenging, but what a gift to be able to see the stark difference between like a medical
Yep,
birth and everything and then a
yep,
midwife care.
yeah.
Um, because yeah, I mean, I definitely remember going home and being like, "Wait, you're gonna let me go home with this baby?" I mean, and I dreamed of having children my whole life. Like that's all I ever wanted to do was
Yep,
have children. And so you would think I would have felt confident and ready and
totally.
prepared because I'd been wanting this my
Yeah.
whole life. And then being home and being like, "Okay, now where's everyone?"
Mhm.
Um,
How do I bathe this baby?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or
even
like
something like that,
breastfeed.
right?
You
Yeah,
think you think like the maternal instinct will just
yeah,
kick in like it downloads or something, but
yeah.
it's really not like that for majority of us, I don't think.
No, and,
And
like, yes, it's natural for the baby to go to the breast, absolutely, that's normal, that's their instinct, they can smell it, and they but I didn't know, and I'm a nurse, that breast milk is supposed to I was just, like, squeezing a little tiny bit, and I'm like, "I guess they just, like, suck it out?" I don't know, and I
right.
also wasn't aware that because I had such a because I was so sick and I was on antibiotics that, like, my body wasn't prioritizing making breast milk, and
Hmm.
so when
And
I
I
finally
oh yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, it's okay. When I finally decided, "Okay, I can't do this, I'm exhausted, the baby's crying constantly, we're getting formula." We got formula, and then, this beautiful baby, and the guilt I had for not breastfeeding too, right? But I felt like I had to or else I was gonna crash and burn. And then I learned years later what breastfeeding is actually supposed to look like and how hard it is and how much work it takes, but no one tells you that stuff.
Mm-mm,
Mm.
mm-mm. No. Oh, not enough people. Even if you have
Yeah.
heard it, it's not enough. You need to be reminded like daily.
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Um, Well, you said something in there. I was going to say, part of that too is that we're very isolated right now. And if we had like aunties and elders and
Mhm.
grannies
Mhm.
around
Mhm.
to be like, oh yeah, I remember what this was like. You got to squeeze the boob and stick it in there like
Totally, and it goes,
this.
like, up
And
and out, yeah, and, like, the
yeah.
shape of the baby's mouth and all that matters. I
Hmm.
know, yeah, because, like, the
Hmm.
indigenous communities, we have a lot of indigenous people, surrounding my area, and you're right, the aunties come in and the elders come in, and they help you, like, roll into that role, to that motherhood role, and you have people to ask questions to talk to vent to, because
Hmm.
our partners are like, "I don't know, do you want me to take the baby?" Like, they don't know
Yeah,
either, right? So it's
right.
a big yeah, it is, it's a hard part about our, culture. It's just like
Hmm.
women, these are your expectations in life. You
Hmm.
go to school, you meet your person, you buy a house, you get married, you have kids, and then that's all. Good luck.
Hmm.
Good luck
Hmm.
out there. Because there's no representation of midlife people or our age or anything anywhere. We have
Oh
nothing to
yeah.
learn from besides our parents.
Hmm.
And we didn't get to see much because they didn't talk about it, or they really shoved it down. So
Hmm.
we didn't get to
Hmm.
learn anything about what we're supposed to do at this age.
Hmm.
Nothing. We just have
I
to give it our best shot.
I've been really seeing more people talking about the, I mean, obviously the algorithmic reality of myself. I see a lot of people talking about perimenopause and midlife um, because that's what I'm interested in. But I
Mhm.
also feel like there is a movement to include more bodies that are going through different stages. I mean, but I think it's going to take some time for like our social experience and even like our media to catch up with that.
Yep.
I mean, I think I don't even want to talk about this, but like all those things that are being released right now, the
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
I really think that that's letting us see that like this obsession with youth and this obsession with um
Beauty standards and
beauty standards and like tiny bodies is it's like kind of gross. I mean, it's really gross, but
yeah.
also like, wait a second, we've ignored a whole set of people, midlife people who
Mhm.
have real bodies.
Yeah. And who are
And
told that they need to look like something else for some reason.
yeah,
And
and
we're hard on ourselves.
like I just think about I think about the potential of that, right? Like I think about what if people who were midlife with all of the things that change beauty standards in midlife
Mhm.
became desirable? Talk about
Well,
mental health change, you know?
well, the thing is that a lot of the men that I speak to at my age, they do love a woman's body that it looks like a full woman's body.
Yes,
But when they were younger, they didn't have the permission to say that out loud.
exactly.
Like,
I've
it's
seen that
blowing my mind.
too.
And I'm like, "No, we need men like you. We need men like you." Right? So, please, like, be
Stand
there
up,
for us.
talk
Stand
about
up.
it.
Like, but
Yeah.
I told a story the other day, and my son, so he's in grade 8, and a couple years ago, one of the moms said to me, "Oh, all the boys think you're hot." So I said to my son, I was like, "Do your friends think I'm hot?" He was like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, the boys are size inclusive. They're learning." So that was awesome because he just turned 14, but this was a couple of years ago. So I'm like, okay. So I think our generation of moms, you're right. We're doing something, and I
Well,
think that's awesome.
and I also wonder, based on like just, the little blurb we talked about before we hit record, but like
Mhm.
you're a person, I can tell, you're a person who feels comfortable in your creative essence. And I
Totally.
think that's attractive.
Yeah, right? And
You
I think
know,
so
maybe
too.
it's like nothing about bodies, but it's
Mhm,
about like feeling who you
mhm,
are and
mhm.
your essence being like exhibited, like
Right.
being out
Yep,
there
yep,
and being comfortable. And I mean, I know in like culture from a cultural aspect too, it's like they talk about like in midlife conversations, they talk about that a lot. It's like, oh, we're downloading this new powerful version of ourselves, or like
mhm.
what was always there, now we just don't give a fuck and we're gonna
Yep,
talk about it, you know?
yep.
And I do think that that's sexy. Like,
Exactly. And we're also there's with men too, right? Like they're going through hormone shifts as well. So if you're a straight woman and, a straight man is attracted to you at this age, they have lost quite a bit of testosterone too, right? So that masculine, like, "Arr, I want this, I want femininity, and I want all, that's falling as well. So men our age should mostly are, because there's still I watched a weird documentary last night, so are there
ooh.
still like they're learning that, oh shit, like I'm actually attracted to this and this personality and this
Hmm.
humor and this, you know, what do you call it where I brain fog, right? So my words don't always come down where it's like confidence, like you're the
Hmm.
confidence in someone, right? But there's so many women that don't feel like they can be confident because they hate their bodies. because they're told to hate their bodies.
Well, and just hearing you talk made me think about how men, women, everybody, all bodies have had this like download of what they should find
Mhm.
attractive.
Yes.
And it sounds very limiting.
Mhm.
There's like a very limited, even from my perspective as a woman who, typically is attracted to men. There's a certain like body type I want there that like the culture has told me is ideal, right?
Right, right. But do you find with women, like when you're seeing couples, how often do you see, like with a straight couple, how often do you see a man that's super, super, super ideally hot with a woman who isn't as societally
Oh,
hot,
oh
right? But
yes,
when you look
yes.
at a male female and like another male female, um, you see often women that are very attractive who are with men that aren't or may not necessarily have that typical what's supposed to be hot
Conventional.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like women, like we're ahead of the game. We
Yeah.
realize because we need that connection, right? We realize that humor and the fact that you can speak emotionally to me is
Mm-hmm.
important, right? And we learn that at a way younger age.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want. But men, also from the pressure of other men and media and all that stuff, they are taught not to care about that. And some men can't get away from that. So it's so interesting when you see these little dynamics out there, right? About
Mm-hmm.
different relationships. Even in like the gay community, like with men, it's still like men my brother, he's gay and his partner, like they tell me that being like your body has to be fit like to be like a super attractive person in the gay community. And so he's always like trying to start a new diet or wanting to worry about like I need to work out or things like that, right? And he's like in his late 40s. So it's interesting, it's still in that male that male community, the physical look of the bodies, they think they need to look like that
Mm-hmm.
still, even at his age. But I asked him, like, do you care? He's like, well, I don't want like someone that's, you know, completely gross to me or something. He's like, but I don't really care about like dad bods and stuff. He's like, I used to. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a perfect example of as you age, trying to change that, but not everybody will feel comfortable being able to say that stuff out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting to think about. Um, this isn't like a new thought, but I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, Diabolical Lies. That's the name of the podcast. And they were talking about how men actually are trying to be attractive to other men and not really for women.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
And I see it now. Like now that I see it, I can't unsee it.
Mhm, mhm. And but women are very similar. Women are very similar. Like men, they're not gonna I don't think they notice your outfits changing constantly, but women do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I do think, well, and maybe I'm just being biased here, so I'll own that
Fair,
if that's
fair.
true. But I do also feel like women have the capacity to care about their outfits for themselves too, like that
Totally.
creative aspect
I
of
feel
like
that. Yeah.
my outfit looks
Mhm,
great and I feel good
mhm.
in this outfit, and that's enough for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, and you know what I love? So you see, like, in different I don't know, I see a lot of interviews or things like that where they're interviewing older women, and their outfits are vibrant and they're loud, right? And their glasses are amazing, their hair is amazing because they got to a point in their life where they're like, "No, I'm dressing for me." And I love to
Yes.
see that. I love it, love it, love it.
Yes.
So I'm like, "Okay, there's a time where it really does happen where we're like, oh, I'm doing it for me now."
Mm-hmm.
In this
Mm-hmm.
age, we're just kind of realizing that we should do that, but still trying to iron out all our other responsibilities and
Mm-hmm.
trying to push those on other people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
So,
I also think this makes me feel good, okay? Like I think I as I can remember back in my life before I had children and before
yeah,
I was married and all that stuff, maiden energy, if you will,
mhm,
that I remember feeling like
mhm.
that will happen for me one day. I want that and it'll happen for me one day. So that's great, right? That makes me think like the culture still holds the wisdom of
Yep.
midlife in its consciousness somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I think our generation's doing way better at being able to recognize it because I can't remember who did an interview and they're like, "Oh, if you could do one thing over again, what would you do?" And it'd be like, "I'd tell more people to
Yeah, yeah,
like
uh-huh.
just, you know, so us at this age, like we don't want to stand for bullshit anymore. Like we
Hmm.
just don't. But we have so many responsibilities still that we can't just toss them aside. So
Well,
we're even more annoyed.
okay, so you just brought up something really profound too, is like the idea of responsibilities. And
Mhm.
if you're cycle syncing, so if we're talking about like month to month, just
Yeah,
managing your life to mirror where you are in your cycle,
yeah,
okay? We would be able to like flex and bend with responsibilities based on where we are ovulation,
yeah.
menstruating, and that sort of thing. And that goes into postpartum too, where like you should be able to rest, you should be able to lay down and not worry about anything.
Mhm.
And the same thing goes for like perimenopause and menopause, right? Is
Yeah,
like there should be a way for your life to sort of like change
yeah.
to accommodate what is
Mhm.
happening with you hormonally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all
The
those
stuff
things.
you just can't carry it anymore. Like, your brain changes, like, the chemistry changes. You actually can't keep everything in your brain anymore, and it's hard to say, say if you're married, to say to your partner, "Hey, I need support now." Like, because they don't get it they don't get it. We don't get it. Imagine what they're
Hmm.
trying to understand, and you also kind of feel like, someone was like, "Just stop doing it. Stop doing it all." And I'm like, I feel like I'm setting my family up for failure if I do that.
Hmm.
Just one day say, "Hey, I do everything around here and I carry everybody's emotions. I'm not doing it anymore." Because guilt is still a huge, huge feeling through perimenopause. And so, if my child forgot his shoes because I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna say anything. Well, then he panics and then he calls from school and I bring him his shoes because I feel so bad and I feel like I set that up when I should have just reminded him. It's but the guilt, right? So
Well,
I try. Little things I'm trying.
yeah, well, our structure, like our culture,
Yep.
our yeah, our structure doesn't support the
Mhm.
fact that you need to do things differently because we sort of
Right.
romanticize the testosterone 24-hour cycle where
Yep.
you just can produce for the rest. You can produce every day the same amount until you're what? Retired at 65, which is not
Totally.
true anymore.
Yeah.
But do you know it's like that's sort of the belief there too that
Yeah. You're the
you
exact same person all throughout your life.
yeah, the exact same person. And
But we're not.
we're not robots, okay, folks?
Mm. And our bodies physically change, like, our chemical makeup changes. So it's actually not possible for us to remain the exact same and still carry that invisible load that we've always carried. We don't have the capacity anymore.
Hmm.
And for women that don't know about, like, all the hormone shifts and changes, they're hard on themselves because they can't carry it anymore, and that causes resentment, and that causes fighting, and if people don't know about it, they just get really hard on themselves, and I hate to see that. I see it all the time. I still do it even though I know, because you just feel like you just can't be that mother, that partner that society has set us up to be, and you feel like you're
Well,
just letting everyone down.
yeah, exactly. And can you imagine if like a white man woke up one day and was like, "Whoa, I cannot relate with what I used to know yesterday." Like
Yeah,
everything would shift. But because
yeah,
women go
yeah,
through it,
yep,
we're a lot of times suffering in silence because one, we don't, there's statistics that show we won't be believed, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that we're not talking about it.
No, we're not, and that's why I
Silence.
really wanted to put my stuff out there because a lot of the, you know, the perimenopause community on, like, Instagram, it's a lot about how to manage eat right. You need to be eating this, you need to be doing this, you need to be exercising, you need to be lifting heavy, which that's all great, but it can be overwhelming. So women don't even know where to start. And I'm like, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'll just throw that on my load. I'll just throw that on my plate of things to do. But I'm like, I no, I want to talk about how shit this is. Not that like I can go, request HRT. I can go and try to hunt that kind of stuff down. And I will. I will. I know I will. But let's talk about how we're actually feeling, what's actually happening in our bodies, like that whole change. Like let's talk about that and let's talk about how much it sucks. There's
Hmm.
it's supposed to be empowering and it is, but we can't be hard on ourselves when we can't all of a sudden drop everything and just worry about ourselves now. Because that's
Hmm.
what a lot of the positive, things are that are said about perimenopause. Like you are for you now. You are for you. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Sure, but who's gonna make lunches? Who's gonna do all the other stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
that sounds like, I mean, I know there's probably some nuance there, but it sounds like a lot of junky, hyper individualist stuff. Like
Yeah, yeah.
we are communal animals. We are creatures of the earth that commune together. Okay?
Commune, woman's commune. I talk about it all the time.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
into it.
Right? Just because but you know what? Because of our economy too right now, this is when I started thinking about it because women were coming to me saying like, "I think I need to leave, but I can't afford that. I can't afford to live on my own, especially to have a bedroom for my 4 children or something." Like, so I'm thinking like, I think we're gonna see a shift in those living styles. I think we're going to start seeing women living with women with their children because
Okay.
we
I
need to meet.
I I have heard this and I'm actually in the process of possibly doing something similar in my life.
Yeah,
Um and so here's my question. What are the men gonna do? I mean, I
right.
kind of don't care what they're gonna do. They're gonna figure it out. But
Well, and I think that this is a part of our generation of women as well. It's like we're not sitting in silence anymore. You will recognize that you need us and how, what we do for men, like what women do for men,
mhm.
and that we need to be met here. And if you can't give that to us, guess what? Our girlfriends can. And there are plenty of toys out there that can get off my fucking sexual needs, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you can leave the commune if you want. Go do your thing, go have sex, go date. But
right.
we need emotional connections and we're at this age getting it from other women.
I have been saying that I feel like the universe is asking men, I mean asking all of us, but especially men to step up into their divine masculine, but also their divine self so that they can meet us. Not that we're like superior in some spiritual way, but we are connected to
See
the womb.
us. We're human too.
We're
See
connected
us for
to the
real.
dirt, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I love that you brought that up because men, I'm so sorry. We're not man bashing, but like this is all what women are now seeing at this age. The veil has lifted. So it's
Right.
not a man bash because they are doing what they think they're supposed to do too, right?
Hmm.
That's what
Right.
they've been told. But men have always been, they're the protectors, right? They are the gatherers, the stuff like they protect their families. That's what
Hmm.
men are supposed to do, the brave ones, the ones that take care of that. They still think they are, but they're not doing that at
Right.
all.
I
Moms are,
think
women are.
I think that's a very important
Hmm.
like piece of the conversation that's missing.
Yeah, but like they think they are, but I'm like, how?
Like,
How
show
are
me how. Tell me the story of
exactly,
how. I
exactly like
mean,
show me.
I guess if I want to think about it, like, okay, I'm processing in the moment here, so I might be totally off base, but there was a time, not even that long ago, possibly, maybe one generation or two back, where maybe men really did have to protect, like with force, right?
Yeah,
Like we had to protect against bears or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
And they're not getting that opportunity. They're like sitting at a in a cubicle. And that has to feel in their systems, nervous system, their bodies, incongruent in some ways.
You would you would think that, yeah, but it's not showing very obviously. Like it's not being recognized.
And
And like you said, where are the men? Why are they not standing up for their women and their daughters and their
mm-hmm,
mothers?
mm-hmm,
Where are they? Where
mm-hmm,
are they right now?
mm-hmm.
We need your voices. Like, you don't want the matriarchy? Then step the fuck up, or else we're gonna
Right.
step on you because you don't give a shit about us. You know? So that I get
Right.
really like
Oh
it's a thing.
no.
It's a thing
It's
right now.
I am here for that fire because I mean I think if I like pull back, right? We're in a moment of transition
Big
and
time.
so we
Yep.
can't really know like what's going to happen. And so I'm holding all the open space for men to rise up and show me what that means for them.
Yep.
And and I also want to say that I'm using the binary terms like men, women because that
Yep.
is the group of which I am in.
Yep.
Um, and so I know that there's way more nuance to the
Totally. And
conversation
that's
than
it's a
what
hard
we're having
conversation
here.
with perimenopause too, because you're always looking at the heterosexual marriage type thing, right? But I was talking to
Right.
a trans man who, when he went on hormonal things to transition, he was getting hit with all the perimenopause
Oh,
symptoms.
I
And like,
can't
who knows
imagine.
that? Who knew that? And like, he
Yeah.
was like, I was very alone in that, you
Yeah.
know? So
Yeah.
it's bizarre. So
And like I hope my hope is that there are spaces dedicated to those conversations because just like we need these
yeah,
conversations, they need those conversations maybe even more than us. I don't
big time.
know. But
Maybe
like
I'll maybe I'll inquire. I'm gonna ask actually.
yeah,
I'm gonna ask
because
him.
so my point is like I'm using these binary terms, but I
Yeah,
know that there's way more nuance to this. So I just want
yeah.
to say that.
Thanks for
With
speaking
that
up about that, Sarah.
with that being said, like we're asking for men to show up and the whole world has shifted where, like they're building something in front of my house and so I got all these construction guys right outside my
Mhm,
house.
mhm.
Like, hello. Um,
Yep.
but like, there is that as like an option for men, but many men end up like in an office in a
Sure.
cubicle and typing on a computer, making data code or something. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and it makes me wonder, like, yeah, how are you expressing your mass?
Are you not angry about this? And
Right.
I said to my husband, I said, you know, women are very mad at men right now. And he tried to
Yes.
all men me, which not all men me, which that's a whole other thing. But I said, like, but everything I'm seeing right now is women standing up. Women, women, women. He's like,
Yes.
well, that's because your algorithm. And I'm like,
Is it though? Is it
could
though?
be true, but why aren't I just seeing advocacy, period?
Right.
Right? Like, and I do get some men in my algorithm, but
Mm-hmm.
it's 98% women
Mm-hmm.
standing up.
Well, and I would love, okay, I would love for a man to listen to this and say, I'm doing this, I'm advocating, and this is how. Like, because, like I said, I'm holding all the open space for that. Like, I want that to be real and true.
Yeah.
So bring it to me, you
Well,
know?
like the hockey boys, right? Like whatever happened there,
Yes, I
like
was
that
thinking
was
about that
probably
too.
a huge like, oh shit, they didn't even realize, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were just going along with
Mm-hmm.
the other men. And right now with the climate of what's happening, no one stood up.
Well,
That's
and it's
hard.
it's like I was talking to a man a couple weeks ago about the files being released, and I said,
Mhm.
you need to read them. And he was like, no, it's so disgusting. It's so gross. And I was like, you need to read them because you need to understand why the release of these things and hearing all these stories has not surprised any woman I know.
Nope. Yeah, and me having to say that to men too. Even if a woman just has sex with a guy to get out of the situation that they're in. Like I
Yes.
that is like
Yes.
we're too kind, like we're nice and we just don't want to like we don't want to ruffle feathers and you're uncomfortable and like so many of my friends relate to this. Like, I just needed to so I could get out of there because I didn't want to be
Yes.
there anymore. Like, that's a big form of like sexual abuse when you're getting that pressure and pressure and pressure and pressure, and they're not taking
Mm-hmm.
no. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, maybe some of them should have punched them in the face and ran away, but women are told that they are soft and they should be soft. So we just, get it over with and then get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like so
But
many.
then with no support on how to process the thing that just happened, like,
Well,
and
because you did it. You
yeah,
did
you
it.
didn't you
You
didn't
could
say
have
no
just
enough.
left. You could
Yeah.
have just left. You
Yeah.
could have said no. Well, I did. Well, did you though enough?
I know. I
You
know.
know, like so many women have been in so many situations, but maybe not full on rape, which is fucking horrible, but many where they felt sexually exploited.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, oh, because it wasn't, a really bad rape situation, ours don't count. Like we
Mm-hmm.
women are like men need to see that so many women, most of them, all of them, have had experiences like with sexual assault in some way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how do they not hear that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the
Well, and
documentary. The
oh,
documentary I watched last night was on that whole man. What's the whole man influencer not caring about women, trad wife, manscape. It's not manscaping. I know that's like pubing, but
like the manosphere.
manosphere. Thank you.
Yeah.
I also have no shame in my word loss because that's just
Yeah,
who
I'm
I
with
am
you.
right now. Yeah, and I was just like,
I'm raising two boys and I care deeply about this topic, about men, about masculine, about men's liberation, all those movements. I care and I follow it, try to follow
yeah,
it as closely as I can
yeah.
because I need to know what they're consuming, but I also need to know like what's good and what's like not good work, you know?
And how are they processing what they're consuming?
Yes, 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 exactly.
Do you
Um,
recognize that this is bullshit?
right,
You know,
right,
and
right.
the amount of people, boys, that would come up to these like influencers when they were out in the community. Oh, I'm his biggest fan. I just love what he does. And, to man up and we need to take care, and saying that like women say that they want to be out and independent, but no, women want a man to rule them and take care of them. And they're just young. 26% of Gen Z in the United States believe in like trad wifing. 26%. That's my son's
Yikes.
age. They think that
Whoa.
a woman should. It was higher when it was like a world study, but I read the world study, and then I'm like, I can't compare it to all these different cultures.
Right.
So I couldn't
Hmm.
find anything on Canada because I'm Canadian. So I go to my brother, the States, and 26%.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that it was that high. I was really
Yeah,
hoping for like 2%.
yeah, no, right? 26. Oh, I
Well, so like I want to go back to something that you just said that made me think about something else.
mhm.
These things that happen to us, like these
Yep,
sexual boundary violations and things
mhm,
like that, you know, perimenopause, if we were fully supported, if we really had access to like less responsibility, maybe drugs, maybe hormones,
yep,
maybe I don't know, movement, even just
yeah.
like
Talk support, talk like just yeah,
yes,
yep,
like I'm gonna sleep whenever I'm tired, I'm gonna move whenever my body requires that, like that
yep,
kind of
yep,
support. Like I had sort of mentioned this earlier, but like perimenopause sort of mirrors menarche.
mhm,
And if we think about the spiral, right? We sometimes travel on this spiral, and when it comes back around, we have this possibility. There's a possibility there to move through the healing of
yep,
something, right? And like I had a friend recently telling me about a story. She's going through a hard time. It was really like rubbing up against something that happened to her like 15 years
yep,
ago.
yep.
And
Something
I was
triggered.
like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, let it come.
Yep,
Let it come out. because if you try to push that away, I mean, it's brilliant. She was even noticing that those two things were rubbing up against each other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But then for it to be
very
like,
cool.
okay, you're on the spiral. Let that
Mhm.
stuff, that terrible shit that happened to you,
Yep,
like let perimenopause come in and do its work, you
yep,
know?
exactly. That's a great point.
And that work could happen if we were fully supported in all the ways.
Big time. I know. It really, really could. And like we've talked about that whole the estrogen veil. So the things that we were able to keep hidden, keep soft, we
Yes.
can't keep it like that anymore. So the littlest of things could trigger something in you that could be extremely detrimental, and we don't know how to manage it because we don't have the support. And I'm lucky where I'm surrounded by a really good group of girlfriends. I have like 5 solid, incredible women in my life that I've had for years and years and years. Not everybody has that. Like,
Right.
uh, and that's another thing too. It's like, oh, lean on your friends during perimenopause.
Mm-hmm.
What if I don't have the girlfriends? Because there's lots of women like that
Mm-hmm.
too, right?
Yeah,
You can't just be like, "Oh
the
my god."
woman wound,
Yes.
the woman wound, that's real. I mean, I was talking to someone yesterday and she was like, all my friends are men and I just really get along with men a lot better. And I was like, ooh, I relate with that. Like a younger version of me was like
Yep,
that, but I
yep.
am like surrounded by women right now and I
Mhm.
feel supported by that. I feel yeah, I don't really want to hang out with men to be really honest.
Yeah, and, like, I love
And
like you said, I love men, I love
I
men,
do,
but
yeah.
right now I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in my body and my soul and my head, and
Yes.
men aren't they don't get it, they don't understand it, like, 'cause
Yes.
again, we hardly do.
Right.
So it's
Right.
very hard for them, so you need to go
Yeah, it
elsewhere.
almost feels like this time, this perimenopause time requires women for me,
Yeah,
where it's like, ooh, I mean, I can go and, go to dinner with like a bunch of people where men are at or something like
yeah,
that, and I
yeah,
can
for sure.
contain myself.
Yeah, 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 and they're cute,
But
you can flirt and whatever, but
but like my best friend is having a slumber party for her birthday next week. And I am just like, yes, I want to go in my pajamas. We're
yeah,
having mocktails and like it's gonna get
yeah,
like we're all just gonna be raw and real and
yeah.
moist and dirty and I like it.
The odd time when I go out with my friends, they'll be like, "Where's Amber?" I guarantee I'm in the bathroom with talking to women. That is where my friends will always find me if I am anywhere. I could be at a concert, I could be out, having dinner. I'm always found in the bathrooms with women, supporting women, pulling out deep stuff that women
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Always. That's where I end up. I'm going out so I can go into the bathroom. Like that's and I love it. I don't have desire. Like I've got my husband at home and my family. I don't want to talk to boys unless do you want to hear about women right now?
Right,
Want me to teach
exactly.
you? Yeah.
Right. And I
Like,
think that's just like, I think that's a time. I mean, it wasn't always like that for me, right? And
yeah,
it probably won't
totally.
always be like this. It
Yeah.
just is like a time right now.
It is a
And that's
time.
okay. Like,
Great.
again, it goes back to those cycles. Like, we're not 24-hour
Mhm.
testosterone cycle robots.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually live on a bigger
Huge,
timeline, a
yes, a
bigger
huge
cycle.
spectrum, right, of changes. And,
Mm-hmm.
also the men, like our partners trying to understand and women needing more when it comes to like sexual experiences and us not even knowing about that. Why don't I want to fuck my husband anymore? But men having to learn a whole new way of turning on a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And that's confusing because they just assume, oh, I need lube. Well, what? You're not turned on by me? It's like, no, I'm old and all my orifices are drying up. It's got nothing to do with that. I don't want to
Right.
tear. I don't want to get all micro teared because you have a complex. Like there's so much learning for
Yes.
all sexes about this stuff. And I'm really happy that, people like us, Sarah, are speaking loud about it
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to help our children's generation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
as mothers, look at us. Look at us,
Yeah.
right? We're doing a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think wouldn't that be like the overall message that I would love for every woman to understand is that this is a process and you're in the process right now, and it won't always be like this. I don't know what it's like on the other side. You still have some access to what it was before that, but like we're in it right now. We're
Yeah.
kind of like in the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm hoping that, my first year has been really hard, but my partner has been making strides about learning. So he is supporting me. I don't, something like a dirty kitchen is really triggering to me. It gets me like super wound up. I never used to give a shit before, but now he's recognizing, oh, if I take 5 minutes to clean this kitchen before Amber gets home, like, why wouldn't I do that for her?
Smart man.
Yeah, but I mean, it had to be like, I had to push and push and push because I'm like, you need to make some shifts here because I am shifting and I can't do this alone anymore. And I don't
Mhm.
want to be a statistic.
Right.
So
Well,
learn.
and I also think there's a perspective shift that's like, isn't
We're
that
worthy,
exciting? Like, isn't it
right?
exciting to kind of like do, you could get into the monotony of like
Sure.
30 years of marriage and
Yeah.
we do the same thing
Oh,
every day.
we
Or you
can't
could be
enjoy
like,
menopause this generation.
or we could be like, hey, things are shifting. Let's ride this wild ride together.
Totally, totally, exactly. And it's funny you brought up that 30-year thing because there's so much pressure, like societal pressure on long-term relationships are
Hmm.
the ones you need to strive for.
Hmm.
All people before us did it. I was like, women didn't have a choice. Women didn't
Right.
even have a bank account until the 80s or whatever, right?
Right.
But now women have that choice. And I know a lot of people still look at it as long term is the ultimate goal, but I'm looking at it now going, no, if you can get more somewhere else, you're going to be a better person, a stronger person if you meet someone now that meets you. It may not be the person you were with at 20, and that's okay because you're different people.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
you can grow together, awesome, do it. Like,
Awesome.
great. But it's
Yeah.
also okay to find someone else that's maybe on your wavelength. There's a lot of stigma around divorce and separation and that you're a single woman is not worthy and all that, and we're changing it and slowly, but
Hmm.
we're going to be when we're 98 because of modern medicine, we're going to live that long. We're going to be like, look at us. Let's look at us now. We are independent women. We've made a change.
Yes. Yes.
I hope.
I hope so too. I'm here to live to 98. That would be cool.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I hope, like with modern medicine, I asked my son, I'm like, with modern medicine, like, how long do you think your dad and I are going to live? And he was like thinking about it, and he's like, probably till 120. And I was like, okay. I'm like, but are our bodies super fragile? And he's like, yes. He's like, but the process will be slower. It'll be a slower process because we have medication and things that we can put in our bodies that will expand the lives of our internal organs or our bones or things like that. I just love his thoughts on life. So I always ask him. He's a smart kid.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I know these kids teach us just as much as we teach them.
They also teach us that he's 14. He is doing what 14-year-olds do.
Yeah. I
My baby, my baby.
I
Yeah,
know. I my oldest is 12 and I have a few parents in my life that have boys,
yeah.
at that like 14, 15, and I'm like,
Yeah, when you have to leave condoms, ugh, you're like, oh, well, I know what I was doing at 14, so of course, but
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I'm way more talk to me, talk to me. He doesn't, but
Yes,
I'm,
yes.
I think as like you said with parenting earlier in the show here, we are so much more accepting, understanding. We are so much more human than we ever thought our parents were. We
Hmm. Hmm.
apologize. We
Hmm.
apologize. We are real. And I hope that we're not making like spoiled children. I know people are saying like, oh, the work ethic of young people are sucks, but
Well,
we
I
really
still
want to make
think
a
we're going to
benchmark.
transition with that too, right? Because what's really happening is the work ethic thing is like they're also just not putting up with the shit that we did. You know,
Right?
they're like, actually, I
Yeah.
deserve better than this.
Yeah. Or that's
And
not in my job description. I'm not doing that.
right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know, I also think it's worth talking like a really tangible example of what we're talking about verse and bringing back in the spiral that we were talking about
Yeah.
is like, you know, a lot of people talk about parenting and children and raising children is so triggering. That's the word that a lot of people use. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm bringing the past up and like
Yeah. This
it's
triggers me from
triggering.
this trauma and
But you know, I have to tell you this story real quick about something that was really healing. And you know, my son, okay, I shouldn't give too many information because I don't know what he would
I
want
know.
me to share, but
Yeah, yeah, I know.
he's got like a little crush. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
say that. He's got a little crush. And he has been coming to me, talking to me about like how to handle it. And I am just like, oh, oh
Hey,
my
hey, come in.
God.
Do you want some toast? Come on in. Come on in. Yeah, talk to me. That's awesome.
That has been so reparative for my own
Yeah,
experience because when I was young and I had a first crush and I'm trying to talk to my mom about it, and my mom's like, I don't know how to talk to you about this. It
totally.
was like harmful. I mean, like, you know, it was a little
Yeah,
thing, but it's
you
still
weren't. Yeah.
harmful. And it was just like, I don't know, parents of the 80s and 90s just didn't know really how to handle stuff like that, I guess.
No, they were like the first generation of parents that were learning to do things for themselves in a way too. So they were doing
Yeah.
their own thing half the
Yeah.
time. Like
Yeah.
they were divorcing for real and they were trying to hang out with friends and they were going through addiction issues. Like it's such a wild thing to notice something like that. Yeah,
Yes.
they weren't living for their kids, most of them.
And I think so when he brings up these things to me and I think to myself like what would have I wished my parents could have said or done
What did
or
you
like
need?
yeah it's like wow there's this almost like what's that called you know brain fog thing
Yeah, I
um
know.
inner child work that
Yeah,
happens with this where it's like
yeah.
I get to really parent him, but I'm also like reparenting that little version of me. Meanwhile, also asking like, is this helpful? Because
Right,
I
totally.
also
Yep.
don't want to create like another cycle of shit, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like, you don't wanna pour your shit on them, but
yes,
what I felt I
exactly.
needed at that age, so do can I help you here? And if it's not what you need, let's move on somewhere else, but
Yes, totally.
oh my
I think that question is really powerful. Like, is this helpful? Is this
yes,
productive? Is this like,
big time.
you know, do you feel good about this or whatever? Because all this like inner child work that I'm talking about is not happening. I mean, it is sort of happening in the moment, but it's more like leaving and being like, holy shit, that was an amazing
Reflecting
conversation.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah. And like that's where the inner child work happens, right?
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so we have that opportunity to ride that spiral again, right? And see that there's opportunity all around to like go back and heal something.
exactly. Did I tell 'em I asked my friends, like, "When did you recognize your parents were human?"
Ooh, yeah.
Right? And I'd say, like, my early 20s, when I was like, "Oh, they're just human. Of course
Hmm.
they did this, or of course they did that, or of course, during this time I felt like I was not being chosen because they were going through this. It sucks for a girl, but it's also being able to recognize like they're human. They
Hmm.
have human experiences. They're not just my parent and they don't know all. And I think our
Yeah.
kids recognize it way sooner.
Oh yeah, because I'm always like, I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I don't
Yep,
know.
yep. I drop the F bomb way too much and I lose my shit and then I'll be like, I'll apologize.
Yep,
And I'll
yep,
say like
same.
that was really shitty of me. Like I lost myself and I couldn't get back to it in the time and I'm really sorry that you got that wrath, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Which needs them to do that too.
my kids get to hear me say, "Ooh, I didn't like the way I just
Yes,
responded.
sorry
Let
about
me
that.
try that one
Sorry,
again."
I'm human. I lost it. I reacted.
Yep.
And we didn't get that growing up. Most of us
No.
anyway, right?
No. No.
So we're doing a good job, I think, Sarah. We're doing a good
Yeah.
job. While trying to
That's right.
manage all of our own shit.
Yeah.
I think we're doing
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Which
right?
to bring this full circle and kind of to a close is like we talked about how, perimenopause, we have a lot more stress. We're like constantly pinged with news, horrific news, right in
Mhm.
seconds, right? We saw like people dying and stuff right away. And that's tragic, but being so connected virtually also allows for conversations like this. And it
Exactly.
also allows for us to see different ways and that
Staying
like
gray.
the trends, the parenting trends, like we get to see some of that more in real
Yeah,
time and
yeah,
there's some value to that. So we just need to be
yeah.
discerning and mindful about all of
Exactly. And
that.
like seeing friends that you grew up with that you maybe don't have as much access to anymore, but you still love each other, and then you get to see their kids grow up and stuff. There are so many benefits. You're right.
Yeah.
But with everything, you have to find a balance, right? And then
Yes.
this is interesting. Another thing about our parenting is teaching our children this balance that we don't even know how to balance and talking to them about all these things because their minds, they're going to be different. Their experiences are going to be different. People are like, oh, they're on screens too much. And I'm like, this is the future. This is what's happening. Like,
Hmm.
so we got to learn all about that. Us analog children, well,
Right.
we're doing our best.
It's a challenge.
Hmm, hmm.
Well, this was absolutely delightful. I had
Yeah,
a
that's
feeling
great.
that it would be. Um, and I will definitely put all of your contact information in the show notes and try
Awesome.
to go back and see what we talked about and put that
I know,
stuff in
right?
there too. And yeah, if anyone feels compelled to reach out to Amber, I highly encourage that. And until next time.
Bye. Thanks, Sarah.